What's going to happen to the Southern Oregon housing market in 2023? That question has been on the minds of a lot of homeowners and people thinking about buying or selling real estate here in Southern Oregon. So I'm going to share my outlook with you, including 4 predictions for what we'll see here locally in the Southern Oregon housing market in 2023. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Brian Simmons here with eXp Realty in Southern Oregon. It is December 7th. Listen, if you can do me a quick favor and just click that like icon, hit the subscribe button, and share this video with anybody you know looking to buy or sell real estate in Southern Oregon, I'd super appreciate that. Before we dive into the housing market outlook, I want to tell you where we're actually at today in the local housing market. Between Jackson and Josephine counties of Southern Oregon, and we're looking at single-family residential listings here, we have 1,039 active single-family residential listings today between the two counties. That's down from 1,088 last week. We had 62 new listings at the market, which is back up to a normal level after a low there in the Thanksgiving week. 80 price changes, 26 came back on the market, 72 went pending, which is great to see. It's back in the 70s after an expected low during Thanksgiving. 81 closed, and that's again nice to see that bounce back after we had about a 4-week average of 54 a week. So nice to see that bounce back up into the 80s. And we had 79 that went either expired, withdrawn, or canceled. And so that all brings us to about 13 weeks worth of inventory if we were to look at it as just a snapshot of the 1 week. So overall, I mean, the numbers really bounced back nicely after what we expected to have as a low during the Thanksgiving week. So apparently tryptophan really is a thing, and people would rather sit on the couch and watch football or Christmas movies or eat turkey sandwiches than go out and go house hunting. So I can't say I blame them. But that's what happened there. So overall, I'm pretty happy with these numbers. If you look at pending in particular, it's been very, very stable. I mean, as stable as we could hope for. And if you look at the last, 4 of the last 5 weeks, we removed Thanksgiving week, the pending numbers were 70, 71, 70, 72. So, I mean, that's about as stable as you can get. And it's nice to see that there's buyers out there writing offers in the market where rates are as high as they've been. And I actually think that those are the smart buyers, and I'll tell you why. These are the buyers that understand that you can get an absolutely phenomenal deal right now from a seller. What I'm seeing is buyers getting deals that are below asking price, where the seller's making reasonable repairs, and where the seller's even contributing some funds towards the buyer's closing costs to help them buy down their rate. And the real smart buyers are using those funds from the seller to help get into a program like a 3-2-1 buy down, where their mortgage rate is reduced by 3% in the first year, 2% in the second year, and 1% in the third year. So they're front loading the reduction of the rate in those first 3 years. That's a very, very smart move, especially when the outlook on mortgage rates is favorable and they're expecting to see, a good opportunity to refinance, certainly before the end of the third year. Speaking of outlooks, though, I want to talk about what my 4 predictions are for the housing market here in Southern Oregon in 2023. So just the overall outlook in general, to me, is positive. Okay, I do think that the housing market is going to continue to be on an upward trajectory in terms of home values. I see that happening, and I think that there's a lot of underlying data that supports that happening. Okay, there is an opportunity for it to go down, right? Like there could be things that happen, like if mortgage rates went up to 9%, that would certainly have a pretty negative effect. But I don't see that happening based on what I've been hearing, and I'll get into that more in a little bit. But I just don't see there being much evidence to support a very negative market outlook versus the evidence that I see that supports a pretty positive market outlook. So overall, I'm definitely on the positive side of things. And when I say positive, I mean good for homeowners, good for people wanting to sell their home, good for buyers in terms of mortgage rates. I think the whole thing is going to be positive. So that's where I see it going. So if I want to talk about the 4 actual predictions that I want to go on record of making, I'll start out and I'll just share those with you. So first is that I do believe that we will see inventory levels dip down below 1,000 units of single-family residential before the end of February. We're already at 1,039, so this isn't some crazy projection. I think it's pretty likely that this is going to happen, and I think it'll happen before the end of February. And it's significant because if we have lower inventory levels, our supply is down, and then that's a big part of the supply and demand equation, which can push prices up. Number 2 is that I believe mortgage rates will be under 6% by the end of June. And I'll explain more about that in just a second after we get to the next two. The third prediction is that if both of 1 and 2 happen, so if we have under 1,000 units of inventory and mortgage rates are under 6%, then I could see the average sold price for a single-family residential home between Jackson and Josephine counties, okay, I could see that being over $500,000 and possibly even over $525,000 before the end of 2023. And number 4 is if, again, those first two things happen, if inventory is under 1,000 units and rates are below 6%, I believe we could see home values appreciate 10% in 2023. And again, like the big caveat there is that if those both happen where rates are under 6, inventory is under 1,000, I really see things going to be very, very positive for homeowners. These predictions aren't based on hope either. Okay, these predictions are based on actual research, articles I'm reading from economists, data points that I'm following that are indicators of what's going to happen with mortgage rates and things like that, like inflation and those things. So it's really looking at all of these factors and then kind of thinking through how it all affects each other and what that would mean for our local housing market. So it's really more of a look at everything, and then I'm just reporting to you on what I think it all is going to mean going forward. And I totally encourage you guys to do the same when you're trying to figure out what you think is going to happen in the housing market. Base it on data, base it on research, base it on industry experts, not on your Facebook comment you read from a friend who has a friend who has a cousin who flipped a couple houses and he knows for sure that the housing market's going to do this next year. Based on research and real data, okay? So let's come back to inflation real quick because we talked about that for a second. Signs have been pointing towards inflation slowing, and that's great for mortgage rates. That's why we've seen rates come down a whole percent in the last month, because there was good news released by the Fed in their last meeting, and there's speculation that there might be good news released by them in their next meeting, which is on December 13th. If there's favorable news that comes out of that meeting about inflation, that inflation is slowing, or if the Fed announces they're going to do a smaller rate hike than what most people had expected, we could see mortgage rates react in the same way as they did last month, okay? So we could see a pretty nice decline. That's possible. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but it's possible. So what happens in that next meeting is going to be very, very important for these outlooks that I just shared. So if they came out and said that inflation is still going crazy and they have to jack rates up even further, that can make mortgage rates go up, and we could be starting in the wrong direction from what my predictions just were. So what happens in the next week at that Fed meeting is going to be very, very important. That's on the 13th of December. This video next week will come out on the 14th of December, so you can be sure that I will update you on what happened in that meeting. So make sure you click on the subscribe icon so you don't miss that video and get updated on what's going to happen. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you are looking to do some house hunting or you're curious what your home's worth, let me know. Go to buyingsouthernoregon.com or call me at 541-954-7758, and I'd be more than happy to help you. Please don't forget to hit the like button, click the subscribe icon, and share this video with anybody you know looking to buy or sell real estate in Southern Oregon. Have a great one. We'll see you next week.